and welcome all those who are watching this live streamed. And thank you to our IT department for arranging and putting that together for us. We'll begin this meeting with, we have our public comment forms, which are over here by Attorney Elwood. If anyone would like to address the board at the appropriate time, please fill out the form and return it to the board table, and we will address those at the proper time in the meeting. So we'll begin this meeting with item 2.01, our good news report.
Okay, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Hi. So we will start with our September 29th newsletter. The first thing that we covered in this newsletter was to give our parents a reminder about Securely, which is the system. It looks like it's a little bit different from what I have. You want to skip that one? You click on the 920. Okay. That's okay. We can skip that one. We'll go to the 10-4. You can find it on our website. That's okay. We can skip to this one. So this is a little bit of a sneak peek because we will be asking these ladies to join us at our next school board meeting, but we have 7 bus drivers that have 25 years or more experience with Portage Township Schools. I took the opportunity to sit down with them and speak with them about what they love about being a bus driver, and some of the things that they had to say were really heartwarming and kind of made me tear up a little bit, to be honest with you. One of our drivers said, well, what other position do you have where you get to see 100 smiles a day? Which I thought was very sweet. So we'll hear from them a little bit more later. This Wednesday night, we are going to be hosting our vaping symposium and information night. We have an excellent panel of presenters who are going to be coming and talking about what families can do to help their children avoid that trend, and what they can do with us, partnering with us in terms of helping their children avoid that and things like that. So I'm very excited about that. Last Thursday, all of our schools participated in the Great Lakes Apple Crunch. This is a project that our food services director brought in, where we work with local orchards. They're local to the Great Lakes region, and they sent in over 5,000 apples. And so students could take an apple if they would like to, and enjoy that during lunchtime. So that was fun for the kids, and they really enjoyed that. Our Portage Robotics team visited Challenge Ed, so they completed a series of challenges that required them to practice their communication and collaboration skills, and this was great for them, as those are all skills that they need when they start going to their competitions later this school year. Sailor Elementary School took a field trip to Johnson's Farm. This was their 2nd grade classes, so they learned about how produce is grown. They took a tour of the U-Pick fields, picked fresh produce, and enjoyed a little sample of what they were able to pick. And they even were able to take a pumpkin home, so that was cute. South Haven summer readers went to the South Haven Fire Department, where they learned about their equipment that they have on their trucks. They took a tour of the station, and then probably the highlight of their day was they got to ride back on the fire truck to South Haven Elementary School. Myers Elementary School students did a really awesome lesson in their innovative learning lab, where they used Alka-Seltzer tablets, dropped them inside of a cup with water, and had a piece of limestone in there, and they got to explore the effects that different weather climates have on limestone. So going to the next newsletter. Not that one. Let's try the other one. Nope, that's the same one. While we get started pulling that up there, I can kind of go over some of the information on the newsletter that was sent out today. We sent some important dates home for our families. The end of the first quarter of the school year is coming up this Thursday, October 17th. Friday is going to be a teacher records day, so the kids get to enjoy a 3-day weekend. We have an e-learning day coming up on Thursday, October 24th for parent-teacher conferences. And then fall break, of course, is coming up on October 25th through the 28th. We also sent some information home for parents. There's the newsletter. All right. We sent some information home for parents since we're going to be having report cards coming out soon on standards referenced grading, and we reminded them of those I can statements and how that helps our teachers set realistic and understandable expectations for the students, posting those in their classroom every day. And it also goes over that 4-point scale and lets parents know kind of how those equate and what that means in terms of what their kids can understand. Central Elementary School is hosting a peanut butter drive for the Portage Food Pantry. This is October 11th through the 18th, and this is sponsored by their student council. They do this each year, so they encourage the classes to collect jars of peanut butter, and the classroom that donates the most jars will win a free pizza. Sailor Elementary students won the annual Sailor versus South Haven Coin Wars competition, and Mr. Masico this year was the one who had to wear the giant hot dog costume, and it was entertaining, to say the least. The kids enjoyed it. I think the teachers may have enjoyed it possibly a little bit more, but it was neat because Mr. Masico came in, ate lunch with the third grade classes, and then Mr. Zach even took it a step further, and he said the third grade classes could attempt to duct tape him to the wall, so there was a little bit of experimentation in there. If we want to go in terms of innovative learning labs, they found out that duct tape does not hold a principal to a wall for very long. So there's their experimentation. They have we have our video up on our Facebook page if you would like to go back and watch that. Central Elementary School has an AOK club that is Acts of Kindness Club, and they recently created kindness rocks where you take rocks and you paint them and leave them throughout the community to spread some happiness and cheer to whoever finds them. Willow Creek Middle School Spell Bowl team had their first competition last week. They achieved a score of 50 out of a possible 72 points, spelling words such as tableau, synopsis, and precipitation. Zoe Zettler and Elena Sweeney led the team with perfect rounds, spelling all 9 words correctly. Caddick McGee and Olivia McKee brought in 7 points each as well. Myers Elementary students participated in the Porter County Soil and Water Conservation District's program S's for Seeds, where they learned about different seeds that come from the plants and trees around their school. Jones Elementary students recently built a marble run maze in their hallway using some tools from their Innovative Learning Lab, and there's a video up on our Facebook page as well as Jones Elementary School's Facebook page that showcases that. We had our first concert from the Willow Creek Middle School 6th grade band and orchestra, so we got to hear what they've learned in just these first few weeks of school, and the progress they have made is phenomenal. So they sounded great. And their parents had a great time. It was a standing room only concert, which was great. Our students at Willow Creek Middle School learned about different types of careers available in the field of art with a Google Hangout. So they had a graphic artist come in, or not even come in, he signed into Google Hangouts and was able to do kind of like a Skype session with the kids and answer questions that they had about careers in advertising and marketing and how artistic skills apply to those fields. And that is our good news report.
Thank you.
Yes, and we also have NHS inductions tonight, so I'll be headed to that now as well.
Fantastic. Those newsletters are awesome.
They are.
I look forward to seeing them, and I'm sure many in the district do. It's just it's always been a challenge for us on our communication on how do we get the word out to our parents and families and other stakeholders in the community of what goes on in our schools. And fantastic job by you and your group for putting those together. They look great, they're visual, they're informative, they're short and sweet, doesn't take long to go through them. So outstanding work, thank you.
Good job.
Okay, we'll move on. Adjustments to the agenda by the board. Does anybody have any adjustments to our agenda? If not, we'll move on to our board development. Obviously, Trustee Prisco is not here, so I know she enjoys showing Federal Flash, so we'll hold off on those until she comes back to present those. Um, Trustee Maleta with our park department, just an update on that. Earlier in the year, the park department received a grant to do some work at Imagination Glen Park. That work has begun to do some work improvements to the softball fields and build a new concession stand area there. So if you've been out there, that's been kind of run down. So that's under construction right now, which would be nice. And the second thing is, it's sad to report that Park Superintendent of the last 7.5 years, Jenny Orsburn, has resigned. Her last day was last Friday. She's moved on to something with, I believe, the state parks she's going to be working with. But Jenny did a great job handling a bond issue and doing a lot of repairs and improvements to the parks, and she'll be missed. Lori Wilkie will be the interim Park Superintendent through the end of the year, at which obviously at that time there'll be a new mayor, and I'm sure they'll be presenting to the park board for us to approve maybe the same superintendent or another, but in the meantime, Lori will be taking that over, and confident she'll do a great job at that. We did not have a we did have a buildings and grounds set for Trustee Maleta was absent, so I can't report on that. We'll save that for the next meeting when Trustee Aprisco's here. And Finance, we did not have a meeting. Trustee Vasquez, Portage Township Education Foundation and Wellness Committee.
Yes, I met with the Executive Board of Directors on October the 8th, which was last week. The foundation is researching and considering a software called Boomerang, which is a donor management system that addresses fundraising, communication, and digital marketing. There was a representative there at the meeting, and they presented some information for consideration. The Chamber of Commerce also provided these foundation suggestions, as well as a list of businesses and agencies that could be possible donors and supporters. There were about 350 on that list. Another suggestion was to develop a brochure so that the foundation can provide valuable information for all, and it could result in different levels of support. The foundation is also considering, and this is the first, hiring someone for about 5 hours a week to assist the foundation with different projects and different events. A paid interim is, we're considering that. Major Saver fundraising is kicking off, and the profit will certainly help to generate funds so that we can get additional support for grants. And we're going to be continuing the 500 Club monthly raffles. The cost of the tickets have been reduced. They were $50 a ticket, and now they will be $25. There will be 3 winners every month, and the prizes are $250, $150, and $100. The drawings will be held on the second Tuesday of every month, beginning in January. And please let me know, because I have tickets available. And that's it. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Trustee Clancy, Redevelopment Commission.
I don't have a whole lot of update. They are working on their 2020 budget as of right now, so I hope to have more information on that for you guys at the next meeting. As Trustee Maleta said, we haven't had a finance meeting, so no update on that.
Thank you. Trustee Finley, our board policy, board plan.
We're in the process of revising some of our policies. We will have some meetings scheduled next month to continue through that process. So just stay tuned.
Great. That's a painstaking process. Thank you. We'll move on to old business. Our adoption of Exhibit A, Project Resolution Number 8-2019. Whereas the Board of Trustees, the Board of Portage Township Schools, the school corporation, at a meeting on October 14, 2019, held a public hearing in accordance with Indiana Code 20-26-7-37 for the purpose of answering questions and listening to taxpayer comments and any evidence they may present about the proposed renovation and improvements to Chrisman Elementary School, Kyle Elementary School, Myers Elementary School, site improvements throughout the school corporation, including paving and the purchase of equipment and technology, the project, Whereas the board has carefully studied all of the known options and feels that the proposed project is in the best interest of the present and future students to be served by these facilities, now therefore be it resolved that the purpose of the project is to provide an improved educational environment for students. Be it further resolved that the estimated hard and soft costs of the project are $2,325,000, with estimated costs of issuance, including capitalized interest, less interest earnings, of $175,000, resulting in total estimated project cost of $2.5 million. Be it further resolved that the estimated $2.5 million will be funded by one or more of the following: capital projects fund monies and/or general obligation bond issue with an anticipated impact on the debt service fund tax rate of 0.0306 per $100 assessed valuation based on an estimated, looking at that number, $1,941,519,988 assessed valuation beginning in 2020. However, as existing obligations mature, the anticipated increase to the debt service fund tax rate is expected to be $0 above the current rate. This will be passed and adopted this 14th day of October 2019. Do we need a motion?
Motion to approve.
To approve the project resolution?
I make a motion to approve the project resolution.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, call the roll, please.
Trustee Clancy?
Yes.
Trustee Finley?
Yes.
Trustee Vasquez, yes. Trustee Maleta?
Yes. Okay, item 5.02, the adoption of Exhibit B, additional appropriation bonds resolution number 9-2019. Whereas Portage Township Schools, the school corporation, is a school corporation organized and existing under the provisions of Indiana Code 20-23, and whereas the Board of School Trustees, the board of the school corporation, finds that the present facilities of the school corporation are not adequate to provide the proper educational environment of the students now attending or who will attend its schools, and whereas the board is determined to issue bonds of the school corporation in an amount not exceeding $2,500,000 for the purpose of procuring funds to be applied on the cost of the renovation and improvements to Chrisman Elementary School, Kyle Elementary School, Myers Elementary School, site improvements throughout the school corporation, including paving and the purchase of equipment and technology, the project. And whereas the estimated cost of the project at the present time is in the approximate amount of $2,500,000, and the board finds that no sufficient provision has been made on account thereof in the existing budget, and that a need exists for the making of an additional appropriation for such purpose, now therefore be it resolved by the Board of School Corporation that the appropriation of the proceeds of the general obligation bonds of 2019 or such other name or series designation as may be determined by the school corporation's municipal advisor, any amount of $2,500,000 be and the same is hereby made to be applied on the cost of the project. The appropriation also includes the incidental expenses necessary to be incurred in connection with the project and the issuance of bond on the amount thereof. That the appropriation will be in addition to all appropriations provided for in the existing budget and shall continue in effect until the completion of the project. Passed this and adopted this 14th day of October 2019. Do we have a motion to approve the additional appropriation resolution?
I'll make a motion to approve the additional resolution.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, call the roll, please.
Trustee Clancy?
Yes.
Trustee Finley?
Yes.
Trustee Vasquez, yes. Trustee Maleta?
Yes. Next, item 5.03, adoption of Exhibit C, final bond resolution number 10-2019. Whereas Portage Township Schools, the issuer or school corporation, is a school corporation organized and existing under the provisions of Indiana Code 20-23. Whereas the Board of School Trustees, the board, finds that the present facilities of the school corporation are not adequate to provide the proper educational environment of the students now attending or who will attend its schools, and whereas the board finds that there are not sufficient funds available or provided for in existing tax levies with which to pay the total cost of the renovations and improvements to Chrisman Elementary School, Kyle Elementary School, and Myers Elementary School, site improvements throughout the school corporation, including paving and the purchase of equipment and technology, the project, and that the school corporation should issue bonds in an amount not to exceed $2,500,000. The bonds for the purpose of providing funds to be applied on the cost of the project, and that the bonds in such amount should now be authorized. And whereas the school corporation has determined that the total cost of the project authorized herein will not exceed the lesser of $5,170,000 or the greater of 1% of the total gross assessed value of property within the school corporation on the last assessment date, or $1 million, and therefore the bonds will not be issued to fund a controlled project as defined in Indiana Code 6-1.1-20-1.1. And whereas the net assessed valuation of the taxable property in the school corporation, as shown in the last final and complete assessment, which was made in the year 2018 for the state and county taxes collectible in the year of 2019, is $1,886,003,346, and therefore is $5,770,000 of the outstanding indebtedness of the school corporation for constitutional debt purposes, excluding the bonds authorized herein. Such assessment and outstanding indebtedness amounts shall be verified at the time of the payment for and the delivery of the bonds. Now therefore, be it resolved by the board of the issuer that for the purpose of obtaining funds to be applied on the cost of the project, there shall be issued and sold the bonds of the school corporation to be designated as general obligation bonds of 2019, or such other name or series designation as determined by the school corporation's municipal advisor. The bond shall be in a principal amount not to exceed $2,500,000, bearing interest at a rate or rates not exceeding 5% per annum, and the exact rate or rates to be determined by bidding, which interest shall be payable on July 15th, 2020, and semi-annually thereafter on January 15th and July 15th in each year. Interest on the bonds shall be calculated according to the 360-day year containing 12 30-day months. The bonds shall be numbered consecutively from R1 upward, fully registered in the denomination of $5,000, or integral multiples thereof, or other denominations as requested by the winning bidder, and shall mature or be subject to mandatory redemption on January 15th and July 15th, beginning no sooner than July 15th, 2020, though no later than January 15th, 2028.
Mr. President, you can show the remainder, show the record having been read in its entirety, especially since it's been published.
Great, thank you. Let it be shown that
I
this
didn't want
is,
to tell you that until you got to page 5.
yeah, thank you.
I did
was
really
hoping
want
you
him
were
to
gonna
finish
interrupt me
reading
at
the
some point.
whole thing. How many pages was that? 14?
It's 14 pages. I was waiting for you to give me a sign to say stop.
You're doing
So here we are. So we'll submit this as presented to the board as read. Do we have a motion to approve the final bond resolution?
I'll make a motion to approve the final bond resolution.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Not, call the roll, please.
Trustee Kelsey,
Yes.
trustee Finley.
Yes.
Trustee Vasquez, yes, and trustee Maleta.
Yes. Next, we have item 5.04, adoption of Exhibit D, amended and restated post-issuance compliance procedure resolution number 11-2019. This is much shorter. Resolution approving amended and restated post-issuance compliance procedures. Whereas on August 24th, 2016, the Board of School Trustees, the Board of Portage Township Schools, School Corporation previously adopted and approved post-issuance compliance procedures, the original procedures. Whereas the Board has now been presented with the amended and restated post-issuance compliance procedures, the amended procedures, which amend and restate the original procedures to provide for a new compliance officer and to incorporate recent changes in law. And whereas the board has issued securities or has had securities issued on its behalf in the form of bonds, notes, or other types of indebtedness the bonds in order to finance or refinance various projects. And whereas by issuing the bonds, the school corporation is obligated to comply with various restrictions and obligations which are described in the financing and closing documents executed in connection with the issuance of bonds, such as trust indentures, lease agreements, bond resolutions, tax certificates, arbitrage certificates, and continuing disclosure undertakings, and which may extend for 20 years or more into the future. And whereas the school corporation experience administration changes over time in its school corporation's interest to ensure the continual satisfaction of these obligations and restrictions. Whereas such restrictions and obligations require significant documentation, record keeping, and diligence. Whereas written procedures describing the monitoring, oversight, and fulfillment of these post-issuance obligations are beneficial to ensure maintenance of the tax exemption or other tax beneficial treatment on the bonds in compliance with Securities and Exchange Commission rules and regulations. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the board accepts and ratifies the amended procedures presented to this meeting and directs that these administrative amended procedures be incorporated into the procedure manual of the school corporation administration. Be it further resolved that the board appoints the person who is employed as Director of Finance or the equivalent position of the school corporation to serve as compliance officer as defined in the amended procedures, and direct such compliance officer in consultation with counsel as appropriate to implement such amended procedures. Be it further resolved that the compliance officer is also directed to review any disclosure document such as official statement, offering memorandum, or any other type of offering material prepared on behalf of the school corporation in connection with the issuance of the bonds issued hereafter, and such compliance officer is authorized to consult with any staff, municipal officer, or council to assist with such review, passed and adopted the 14th day of October 2019. Do we have a motion to approve the resolution approving the amended and restated post-issuance compliance procedures?
I make a motion to approve the adoption of the amended and restated post-issuance compliance procedures resolution number 11-2019.
And I'll second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Clancy?
Yes.
Trustee Finley?
Yes.
Trustee Vasquez, yes. Trustee Maleta?
Yes. Next, item 5.05, adoption of additional appropriation debt service fund resolution number 12-2019. Whereas it has been determined that it is now necessary to appropriate more money than was originally appropriated in the annual budget, now therefore be it resolved by the Board of School Trustees of Portage Township Schools, Porter County, that for the expenses of the taxing unit, the following additional sums of money are hereby appropriated out of the funds named and for the purpose specified, subject to laws governing the same. Fund named Debt Service Fund. Amount requested, $336,850. An amount approved by fiscal body, $336,850. Adopted this 14th day of October 2019. We have a motion to approve the additional appropriation resolution.
I make a motion to approve the adoption of additional appropriations debt service fund resolution number 12-2019.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? You call the roll, please.
Trustee Clancy? Trustee Finley?
Yes.
Trustee Vasquez, yes. Trustee Maleta?
Yes. Next, item 5.06, our second reading and approval of policy 5512, tobacco.
As Mrs. Devers-Lowy mentioned, October 15th, tomorrow, there will be the vaping symposium. And this is in alignment with the recent, as you're aware, the board had asked this to be prepared, the findings and the reporting of the CDC regarding the harmful effects and the significant concern for young people across this nation.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? You call the roll, please.
Trustee Clancy?
Yes.
Trustee Finley?
Yes.
Trustee Vasquez, yes. Trustee Maleta?
Yes. Next, we have item 5.07, our second reading and approval of policy 7440, plant security.
If you recall, the additions to this particular policy were referencing the importance of having local law enforcement to include Portage Police Department and the Sheriff's Department with the with the important responsibility that during an active crisis and/or 911 call, that they have access to our internal camera system for the sake of monitoring the crisis and being able to best communicate to first responders where the crisis is occurring.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to approve policy 7440, plant security?
I make a motion to approve the policy 7440, plant security.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Call roll, please.
Trustee Clancy?
Yes.
Trustee Finley?
Yes.
Trustee Vasquez, yes. Trustee Maleta?
Yes. Okay, we'll now move on to new business. Item 6.01, approval of the 2019-2020 teacher contract. Terms of the collective bargaining agreement, CBA, dated October 10th, 2019. Portage Township Schools has reached a tentative agreement with the Portage Association of Teachers for the 2019-2020. The agreement terms will be retroactive July 1st, 2019, and will include a retro compensation for our teachers as outlined, is posted on the Portage Township website. The terms of this tentative agreement meet all the requirements set forth by the state of Indiana and has been ratified by the membership of the Portage Association of Teachers. Portage Township Schools and the Portage Association of Teachers have worked collaboratively to accomplish the following terms of the tentative agreement. Raise the salary of the starting teachers from $39,000 a year to $40,750 a year. This has been accomplished in the partnership and remains a priority as starting teacher pay 3 years ago was $36,000. Raise the salary of all teachers in the district by increasing the salary range from $39,000 to $69,400 to an increased range of $40,750 to $71,150. Other items addressed in the tentative agreement include language relative to paid time off, bereavement, long-term disability, pregnancy and adoptive leave, extended sick leave, insurance, professional development reimbursement to follow the current board policy. As stated above, any individual who would like to review all the terms outlined in this tentative agreement can do so by visiting the Portage Township Schools website, www.portage.k12.in.us. Portage Township School Board of Trustees will meet Monday, October 14, 2019 at our regular meeting of the board where consideration of the agreement ratification will be on the board's agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the 2019-2020 teacher contract?
I make a motion to approve the 2019-2020 teacher contract.
And now second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? I'd just like to say congratulations to members of the Portage Association of Teachers and the bargaining team here at Portage Township Schools for their hard work in expediently getting this contract done, and hopefully everyone is very pleased with that. I know we're pleased that we're able to offer and get some of those salaries up. It's been a struggle over the last few years. We've been working toward it, getting them where they need to be. We appreciate our teachers, everything that they do, and I know everyone on this board will go on record that our state still needs to do something to fund our schools better so that we can pay our teachers more. We would love to do more. We need help from the state, so let's stay vigilant in our efforts to convince our state leaders how important this is.
Absolutely.
Any other discussion?
I will say ditto to what you just said, Mr. Maleta. Great job to the leadership team and the bargaining unit, and great job to teachers for getting this done. And as you just stated, we just all need to do a better in pushing our legislators and making sure that they are held accountable for making sure that our students are a priority, so that we can make sure that we get what we need to get for our teachers. So I just say ditto to that.
Thank you.
I think that, you know, this new salary schedule, it's beneficial. We're losing a lot of good teachers, and because of that, and of course, we want to retain as many highly effective teachers that we have so that they can truly impact our students' education. I'm just really, really happy that it happened, and quickly, too. So thank you to our superintendent and
Sure.
to the team.
Any other discussion? If not, call the roll, please.
Trustee Clancy?
Yes.
Trustee Finley?
Yes.
Trustee Vasquez, yes. Trustee Maleta?
Yes. Next, item 6.02, our first reading of policy 8120, volunteers, and policy 9150, school visitors.
As you're aware, we looked at the revision of this policy with the input from our district security team regarding visitors in and out of our buildings as well as volunteers. Those individuals, volunteers in particular, do have their yearly background volunteer check. A visitor can come into the building and not necessarily require the extensive background check of a volunteer. The reason that this has come about is that we want to make sure that when any visitor, no matter if they're volunteering for a field trip, they're volunteering just in the classroom, or visiting the school for just a one-time event, that they are taken through our Raptor system with their state-issued ID. They can also have, as I looked into for the board, the opportunity to provide what other documentation they have as citizens of another country. So with that in mind, I just want to mention that this policy is just making sure that each individual coming through our school district doors at any time, even if they've had the background check, they will be scanned through Raptor for the most up-to-date information specific to being a registered sex offender on the National Registry.
Thank you. Any other comments about this first reading? If not, will constitute our first reading. We'll move on to item 6.03, our overnight field trips. Portage High School Boys and Girls State Cross Country Competition in Terre Haute, Indiana on November 1st and 2nd, 2019. Do you have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the overnight field trips for PHS Boys and Girls State Cross Country Competition in Terre Haute, Indiana, 11/1 to 11/2, 2019.
Do we have a second?
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, I want to say congratulations to the boys and to the girls. I know I just got the information from Mr. Elwood that the boys took 6th,
Yes.
and the girls I know took 3rd. Am I correct?
Correct.
So congratulations and wish them well next weekend.
Thank you. No further discussion. Call the roll, please.
Trustee Clancy?
Yes.
Trustee Finley?
Yes.
Trustee Vasquez, yes. Trustee Maleta?
Yes. Item 6.04, acceptance of the NESP grant funds.
Yes, attached is a memo to the board. This is in the amount of $62,902. This grant supports salaries of our non-certified staff that work with our students that have limited English proficiency, and it provides professional development targeted to meet the needs of those students. This grant also provides supplies and materials to support that instruction, as well as funding a software program that helps us track our English learners.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to approve the acceptance of the NESP grant funds?
I make a motion to accept the NESP grant fund.
And I'll second.
A motion and second. Any discussion? Not call the roll, please.
Trustee Clancy?
Yes.
Trustee Finley?
Yes.
Trustee Vasquez, yes. Trustee Maleta?
Yes. Item 6.05, acceptance of the Title III grant funds.
The Title III grant was approved by the Indiana Department of Education in the amount of $22,774. This grant supports the salary of non-certified paraprofessionals that work with identified limited English proficient students, and it also provides funds, again, for professional development that supports the language development program.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to approve the acceptance of the Title III grant funds?
I make a motion to approve the Title III grant funds.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I noticed that in your memo, or what you shared with us, you said that we need probably about 4 additional teachers, certified teachers, and you said that you were going to have a plan. Do you have anything about the plan at this time?
At this time, I will tell you that that compliance we need to be by 2022. But I do actually have an update for you. Mrs. Williams and I met on Friday morning, and by Friday afternoon, we had posted for an additional EL certified teacher for current time. So we have already began to discuss being very aggressive towards meeting that requirement by the state, ultimately knowing that it's the right thing to do for our students and knowing that we want to continue to get those numbers to a very reasonable amount for our teachers and paraprofessionals who are working with those students with limited proficiency in English. So that is the most recent update I have for you that occurred Friday, and we will be developing a plan to increase the number of staff members and certified teachers in that program.
Does your plan also include professional development?
The plan does include professional development, and I did receive some additional information from Mrs. Williams regarding the professional development opportunities that will come into play. There are additional pieces that I know have been added along the way, and I'll make sure to have a comprehensive list for you on those things in that plan.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Not call the roll, please.
Trustee Clancy?
Yes.
Trustee Finley?
Yes.
Trustee Vasquez, yes. Trustee Maleta?
Yes. Item 6.06, acceptance of the high ability grant funds.
The Indiana Department of Education approved the High Ability Grant in the amount of $61,524. This supports the cognitive testing required for high ability identification in the state of Indiana, and the grant funds also are used to pay a portion of the salaries of certified and non-certified personnel who administer the high ability identification process.
Do you have a motion to approve the acceptance of the high ability grant funds?
I'll make a motion to approve the high ability grant funds.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes, I just have a question, just for later in the,
Sure.
down the line. If we could just have like an overview of the cognitive testing and just to know when that testing starts for kids and the identification process.
Sure.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? If not, call the roll, please.
Trustee Clancy?
Yes.
Trustee Finley?
Yes.
Trustee Vasquez, yes. Trustee Maleta?
Yes. And thank you, Mrs. Williams, for your hard work on procuring these grant funds. Next, we move on to our superintendent reports.
One
Dr.
thing
Alanis.
I wanted to mention, as we just spoke about the state of Indiana funding schools appropriately, one thing I want to share is although some of these requirements come down, such as the limited English proficient students and the requirements we have coming in 2022, the additional teacher is coming out of the general fund, which is a great opportunity for us as a school district because we recognize the priority and this board has been extremely fiscally responsible. So because of that, we're able to increase that teacher. But it is just something to note that some of these mandates come down and the funding isn't there, but we'll continue to make the right decisions and the right opportunities for our students and fund them appropriately. I would also like to mention that, let's see here, the teacher's contract, a couple of things for your information. The teacher appreciation grant, as you know, we have to approve that policy every year, and that requires us now in the state of Indiana to have a 25% differential between teachers who are highly effective and teachers who are effective just with those grant dollars that we receive, not their regular salary, but just with the grant dollars. The teacher's contract only requires that they do not fall in the areas of needs improvement or not effective. So of course, effective and highly effective teachers, same year salary, will get the same salary increase. The TAG grant, however, again, makes us at least split that by 25% difference. I want to mention that because the Indiana School Board of Trustees has not yet voted on the final way or what those calculations are going to be for annual yearly progress. So when we receive those dollars, we're going to be waiting until the state tells us what that calculation is so we can determine how teachers are rated based on that little piece of information that obviously is a significant piece. The same is going to be true for the teacher retro pay. Yes, they will be retro pay the retro pay will be back to July 1. However, again, until those final ratings are determined once the state school board puts that in place and lets us know what that formula is going to be, we do not want to begin putting those funds forward not knowing the final effectiveness rating. So I just want to be very clear on that, and we will continue to work with the Portage Association of Teachers, and this is something that has continued to come up across the state, and superintendents across the state are going to be doing this very thing, so that no one is in a situation of having a teacher who should have gotten more grant dollars, should have gotten less grant dollars, and other unfortunate situations. The other item I wanted to mention is, if you recall, on September 5th, we had a work session about the finances with Nick Gron and also Maria Bravo, and I would like to schedule a time for us to follow up again in regards to some opportunities to best align how we're utilizing those extracurricular accounts and what those documents will look like moving forward when, for instance, athletics sends something out and it says why they need these funds and how we can or cannot support extracurricular accounts based on the state statute. So I will get that information to you. Also, I will be getting out information regarding some upcoming committee meetings, and I would like to schedule a public work session of the board, probably after fall break, to just get some of these items taken care of for us. And that's all I have.
Great, thank you.
Good job, thank you.
Yes.
Do we have any items not on the agenda? We didn't receive any public comment forms? Okay, upcoming meetings, October 29th, 2019 is our regular board meeting, which will be at Central Elementary School at 5 p.m. November 11th will be our board discussion meeting, which will be here at 5 p.m. And November 18th, 2019, our regular board meeting will be at Begley Middle School. And before we adjourn, I do want to reiterate and congratulate our boys and girls cross-country teams and wish them luck. And I would get in trouble at home if I don't also...
Wait, you don't get to do it. It's in my notes.
She's got it.
Okay, go ahead. You know what I'm going to say?
I do. I asked Mrs. Lindgren to put it in. I want to congratulate and publicly recognize the marching band. Great results at contest at Plymouth High School. The Pride of Portage Marching Band participated in the ISMA Scholastic, which qualified them for state in Indianapolis, and they received a gold rating and distinction in music and visual. We cannot post their point totals, but they did a phenomenal job, and the band will now move on to the ISMA Scholastic State Finals October 26th.
Congratulations.
Very cool.
So
I
very,
was
very
there.
big deal.
They were incredible.
Wow.
Best performance I've seen from a Portage marching band in years.
And that says a lot.
It was unbelievable.
Great.
Unbelievable. Also, on October 26th, they also, before they compete in these state finals, they're performing at Lucas Oil Stadium
Yay.
that morning. So that's going to be a
That's
double
awesome.
whammy for them. So it's
Okay.
a nice way for them to finish out their marching band season.
But
So.
before we dismiss, someone in the community has asked about if there's an event on October the 19th with the band at Chesterton High School. What is that about? Maybe someone
Our
out here
band's not
knows?
participating in
So
that.
That's the ISMO regional for open class.
Okay.
Class A and Class C.
Okay, okay, all right.
Different classifications.
Thank you. Someone asked, so I figured
Yep.
while we're here, let's talk about it.
Yeah, oh, our band gets a week off.
They
To
moved
practice,
on.
to practice.
Okay, great,
Yes.
thank you.
And if you haven't heard, Portage drew Penn for the sectional for football.
Yes, they
at Penn.
did. Yes, they
So
did.
it should be an easy win for us.
Yes.
If anybody has anything else, if not, meeting adjourned. Thank you.
You have jokes today, huh?
Yeah, well, we could have.